All right, good day, everybody. Welcome to our week 15. We have about 3 weeks or so left in the term. This is week 7, uh, i.e., week 15, if you're taking the class from 1101 to 1102 in its totality. Week 7, if we're just counting the 1102 half. So, about 2, 3 weeks left, roughly. This point in the term, as I say in the announcement this week, um, I know all too well how easy it is to kind of fall prey to uh, fatigue and maybe getting a little detached from the whole school thing in general. Going to school, doing homework, tests, papers. It gets a bit overwhelming and it all kind of culminates at the end and kind of weighs down on you in this big burden you have to carry. But such is the nature of the beast, as it were. So we'll have to push through. But I am going to try to allow us a little relief, at least for this week. I'm not expecting anything compulsory or mandatory from you all, assignment wise, in Blackboard this week. So let me put that in other words. You don't have an assignment this week, per se. So I'm not asking you to do questions, comprehension questions, or any questions from our backpack literature text or a discussion board or anything like that. What is up this week is a blog. The blog is voluntary. You don't, same old, same old. You don't have to do it. Again, blog posts are going to be added probably to major assignments that'll work in as a bonus, extra credit. So what I'm probably going to do for 1102 is add, let's say each time you participated might very well be a point added to at least one, depending on how many blog posts you've made. If you've only made a couple or 3, then it's probably most sensible to put all of those 3 on one assignment rather than sprinkling them among, say, 3 assignments, because you wouldn't really see much of a difference. The 2 comprehension or the 2 analysis essays, beg your pardon, the Hawthorne essay and the Keats essay that you all have just turned in as of you all watching this video, that and the Othello essay at the end, which is due May 6th. That is a Sunday, I believe. I think grades are due by us, GNTC instructors, by the 11th, which I believe is a Friday. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I believe I have those right. Again, depending on how many blog posts you've made, I'll sprinkle them among the 3 papers from this term. And then from 1101, I'll go look back at those blog posts as well and distribute them among the highest weighted essays there. Again, all depending on how many times you've posted. I'll have to factor all that in. That'll come in towards the end of the term when I'm calculating final grades. So I'll leave that as it is right now. But just know if you've contributed a lot in blogs, you're going to be receiving your just desserts, as it were. Okay. So go ahead and blog this week if you'd like to about any lingering thoughts you have on the Keats poem. I looked at the blog just a bit ago, and responded to a few of you. So any more thoughts you have on the Keats poem, which is such a complex, philosophically rich poem about the nature of reality and the imagination and our world of ideals versus our world of the everyday. It's interesting to see how that plays out in our world today. Can you think of times when people let their ideals or their imagination, as it were, interfere with real life? You could think of all sorts of examples, I'm sure. The poem is still relevant today. Great poets make their works timeless. Great artists, writers, poets, dramatists. Their works are timeless if they're speaking to a universal human truth. Those That's why we read these things today. That's the whole point of a literature class, of an English class. There's wisdom contained in these works, and we get the pleasure of kind of gleaning that wisdom, talking about it. To me, it's the whole point of what a well-rounded college education is about. So getting a little airy fairy there, a little outside of the box. Let me hone myself back down to earth here for a minute, and say that as far as where you should be right now, in terms of our final assignment, Othello, I'd say by the end of the week, if you haven't read the play in its entirety already, you should do that. If you want to kind of pace yourself, like, okay, how much of the play should I have read, say, by the end of this week? Maybe Acts 1 and 2, it's five-act play. Shakespeare's plays are typically 5 acts. So let's say you read Acts 1 and 2, maybe Acts 1 through 3. And then next week, finish up the play. Or, heck, why not finish it all in one setting? You can do it. By next week, at the end of next week, I will have questions assigned, the questions that are in the backpack literature text relating to the play itself. And I think I have it, yeah, I'll have that, and then I'll have a voluntary discussion board, either next week or the week after when your final paper is due. A voluntary discussion board, meaning if you want to participate in the discussion board, have at it. Chances are you'll get 100 if you follow the parameters like you've been doing all term. But that's not until a few weeks, just kind of giving you a heads up there. Speaking of discussion boards from a few weeks ago, the Jack London House on Mango Street, Cisneros, and the Kate Chopin Story of an Hour, I believe it was. From what I remember, during that time there was a Blackboard issue where some of you couldn't submit at the time. So those of you who let me know that via email, like, hey, Mr. Volpe, I wasn't able to submit my work in the discussion forum, but here is my response, okay? I gave you credit for it if you are one of those people, okay? I would have liked it for you to have done your work earlier and not have waited so late, but you had the time frame, you had the week to do it, so no judgment there. You do you as long as you're turning in the assignment within the allocated amount of time. So I gave you credit, but if you didn't participate at all, I can't, and you didn't give me a reason why, or you said, hey, Blackboard's out, I don't know what to do. Well, I can't give you credit because some students let me know that, but they also gave me a response, okay? So it wouldn't be fair to them to award both of you on the same plane there. So just go look in your grade book, see where you are. If you did receive a 0 for that assignment from a few weeks ago, it's because, granted, Blackboard might have been out, but while other students did their due diligence and were thoughtful about it and said, hey, I better cover all my bases and send them the response anyway, you presumably did not do that. Or if you did participate in the discussion board and it was incomplete, meaning you just posted your post and didn't respond to another student, you got what you would normally get in that circumstance. And I believe I award an 85 if you just give a partial response, meaning you just give your post and don't, engage in another student's post or anything like that. So just want to clarify that that grade was entered in the grade book a few days ago last week. This week I'll get to the Shirley Jackson, the lottery questions, and the question that I had assigned for the James Joyce Araby short story as well. I'll probably have those done by Monday the 16th, depending on when you're watching this video. And then your Keats essays are in. I'll probably have those graded within 2 weeks from today, Sunday, February 15th. So by the end of April, okay? And then at that point, that's Sunday, the 29th, a handful of days later, the following Sunday, in fact, your Othello essays will be due the 6th, okay? So I know I'm throwing a lot of dates at you, and I'm kind of giving you a forecast here of what's to come. focus on this week, okay? You're totally fine to focus on this week, which is just kind of take a break. Read the play, contribute to the blog, come to class, engage with Miss Evans, ask her questions about the play, read the play, engage with each other in class, ask me questions, email me. Speaking of the play, I know a lot of students, and I understand why, go to the No Fear Shakespeare or SparkNotes versions, or a more modernized version that's different from the 17th century text, or in some cases the 16th century text of the play. So that's fine to kind of aid your understanding of the play, some of the more archaic diction and syntax, and maybe some references and things we're not used to hundreds of years later, removed from that time. I understand that. However, during your paper, you must not use No Fear Shakespeare, SparkNotes, anything like that, as your source. So when you are citing from the play, direct quotations, it has to be the original text in backpack literature. As far as I'm aware, and unless I'm missing something, it's the original, the original text in the textbook. It's not an updated version. So there's a reason why we read Shakespeare in his original tongue, if you will, the original text. It is a play from hundreds of years ago, and people spoke differently back then. Why would we want to be disconnected from our past, from precedent, from the culture, the cultural architects, if you will, like Shakespeare, who got us to where we are today? Okay, why get rid of that? Why not study it as it was originally intended? Okay, so I could give you more of a kind of a philosophical deep dive justification of that. Email me if you want more clarification, my thoughts on that. But suffice it to say, you're up to the challenge. You guys are at that point in your life where you're young adults transitioning into adulthood, and you should be intellectually stimulated and challenged as much as you possibly can bear. Okay, that's what the whole thing's about, man. That's what an English class is about for sure. Studying Shakespeare. So let's rise to the challenge, rise to the occasion there. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that, folks. I hope you all were getting along okay last week in light of the events that transpired a couple weeks ago. I hope you all are doing okay and getting along okay. And guys, just find it within yourself to summon that hero within and vanquish the dragon that is the end of the semester. Okay, don't become complacent and apathetic, although tempting though it is. And we're going to come out on the other end all the better for it. All right, folks, so until we talk again next week, Mr. Volpe signing off here, and I hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.